One thing that I know that's important is you have to remember your hitters, if you will, from the opposing team, because studying them, studying what they can't hit and what they did hit, or where they hit it last time, is hugely important, because there might be some times where you might see the batter standing far back that way in the box, and you can just pound the outside corner all day, and maybe your pitching coach or something might not see that. So it's good to let them know about that, and it's good to just be aware of what each hitter did and when, and where their strong suits and their weak suits are, because that'll help you and your team a lot more. One thing that I want to go over is blocking. So blocking, probably top 3 most important things as a catcher. So what I like to do when I block personally is you gotta have a cat back. You want to try to make yourself as big as possible to block that ball right in front of you here. So depending on obviously where the pitch is, if the pitch is center, you just want to have your glove down there, and you want to follow the ball all the way in so it hits your chest, so then your neck is not exposed and it just bounces off you right in front of you. And it obviously depends where the pitch is. If the pitch is outside, you want to try to get your body around it and block it always in the middle general vicinity, because that's super important. Because you can just pick it up and go. If it's right in front of you, you can just grab it with your bare. Oh, that's another thing. Once you block it, you want to make sure you grab it with your hand, never your glove. Grab with your hand first, and then worry about things afterwards. Yeah. One thing that is super important is bullpens. They're not a time to go through the motions that I learned. It's usually a time to improve where your skills are weak. And I think knowing that bullpens are important helps show that you're a good catcher, because the catchers, in my opinion, have to be pretty much the smartest position on the field, because there's so much going on. You're in control of the game. You have to be able to receive good. You gotta be able to block good. You gotta prevent pass balls, wild pitches. You gotta shut down the running game. You gotta be a smart player, and I think just a smart player realizes that bullpens are super important, and they're not just oh, I gotta go catch bullpens, blah blah blah. No, it's a time and place to improve your skills, so once you get out in the game, you're ready to go. So that's a place where you practice stuff where you're weak at. So another important aspect of catching is knowing plays at the plate. So say there's a base hit to left field with a runner on second, and the coach is going to send him home. Personally, when I'm getting ready to receive a ball at the plate, I like to be typically, I know this is not generally a home plate, but on the front left-hand corner of the home plate, because I'd rather give because you have to give some sort of lane to the runner, or else you just can't block the plate. So I like to give the back lane to the runner, so they have to slide around me. And I kind of like to get an athletic position here, and depending on this front foot, we either go pretty much to where the throw is coming from. So if it's coming from left, I'm going to be here. If it's coming from center, I'll be here. And if it's coming from right, I'll be here. And what I like to do is, depending on where the ball goes, is I will catch it here, and I like to put my other hand here around my glove with 2 hands to make sure that that ball doesn't pop out, and then I tag them. Sometimes I'll catch it and tag them like this just so that I can come up quickly and throw. But, it's all going, it's all happening so fast. It's typically one or the other for me. I think both are just as effective. But one thing you have to do though is, even though there might be a play at the plate on a base hit, and say you either tag the runner out or he's safe, you would, tag him. You got to be ready and pivot around because there's still another base runner on. You got to be aware that, this isn't, yes, this play is the priority, but then you also got to be thinking ahead, like, okay, there's still someone else possibly on base. I can't let him get to the next base. Like, I got to be ready. So, plays at the plate, that's important. Another thing, hopefully this obviously doesn't happen. Hopefully this doesn't happen often, but on like pass balls and wild pitches, you got to be on your feet, like hustling your butt off to the ball, like, because pass balls, that's on you. Like, you should not miss those. Like, you got to block them. Wild pitches, as you mentioned yesterday, it's always the catcher's fault. So, even if it's a wild pitch and it's the pitcher's fault, catcher still takes the blame. So, you still got to be on your feet because, if there's a runner on base, like, you don't want him to get more than one base. Or, if there's even a play at the plate on a pass ball, you got to be quick so you can get that guy out. So, you can't just, like, put your head down like crap. I just missed a ball, like, why, what the heck's wrong with me? Like, no, you just got to flush it. It's over with. Like, get the ball and control what you can control, as Coach Sanchez says, control the controllables. So, yeah. Knowing, like, the signs and the situations as a catcher is huge, because you have to know, at least last year, Coach Hartsock called mostly all the signs, and we wore the sign chart on our wrist, and just being able to read it quickly and give the sign is hugely important. So you keep the pitcher having good tempo, because tempo in the game is key. You need to have a good steady tempo to where your pitcher like starts getting into a groove and just starts finding things. If you slow down the tempo that he has, it's not good at all. It'll just ruin how good things are going. So, knowing the signs is important, and also, knowing other situations like bunt coverages and stuff. Bunt coverages are huge. You always got to be on your feet because the ball, when a player bunts it, generally, it's sort of in the catcher's general vicinity to, try to go after the ball and then command where the ball is going to go. So, a bunt, you just got to know where the runners are on the base and where to throw each ball. So before last year, I would say I wasn't really the most talkative player, but once I stepped into the catcher's role, you got to be a leader on the field and pretty much talking as much as you can, because it's your infield to command. You can see everything. So being verbally talkative, helping your teammates know like where to throw each ball, how many outs there is, all that kind of stuff is huge. So you just got to make sure that you command the field and talk. And speaking of talking, making sure, when your pitchers are possibly struggling, that you just go out, talk to them, and just calm them down to help them find the strike zone. I learned last year what really helped with my pitchers was just trying to be supportive and encouraging them as much as possible. And typically when that happened, they started to figure something out a little bit. So I would usually, call time if maybe they walk a batter on 4 straight pitches, or maybe they give up like 3 or 4 base hits in a row, maybe a run or something. Just go out there, talk to them, see what's going through their head, and just calm them down and just tell them that, you're just playing catch with me, man. It's just you and I. Don't worry about anything else. All that sort of stuff. So talking is, with the pitcher is just huge. So, there's that, and then, on, say, base hits in the gap, you got to know, where to throw the ball, whether you throw it to third, whether you throw it to second, depending on how fast the runner is. It's all your judgment. You have to be very talkative. So, the situation might be different now if there is a runners on base, whether it be first, second, or third. You gotta be up, just in case. You gotta always be on your feet, just in case if they're trying to take another base on you. So what I learned last year, in order to do that, is you have to have good footwork and a strong arm, like you mentioned to us at practice on Thursday. So for me personally, if a runner, when I'm throwing the ball, say, to first base on a back pick, I typically, it just depends on the pitch personally, on whether or not I throw it from my knees or if I get up and throw it. I know I'll have a more accurate, strong throw if I get up and throw it, but I know being on your knees is quicker, so it's almost like a trade-off. But if I'm gonna get up and throw the ball to first base, say it's a outside pitch and I catch it here, I'm gonna come up and pivot my back foot behind me and point my front foot towards my target. So as an example, it would be like that. And then I'd throw it. I'm gonna throw from my knees on the same exact, maybe a similar pitch. I'm gonna catch it here, and then just kind of fall towards get my momentum going towards my target. Say I'm going to, throw a guy out at second base. What I like to do is I want to make sure I don't step on home plate. I kind of had an issue with that last year, because if I step on home plate, I'm going to slip. So I need to make sure I either clear home plate for me or step a little bit behind it. So when I'm throwing to second base, I like to have my right foot lead first, and then just put down my left foot and just let it loose. So an example of that would be here to here, and just fire. And that worked a lot for me last year. And so now, if a runner is stealing third base, depending on if you have a righty or lefty batter, say it's a righty, so which would make it harder because you don't have a direct throwing lane. I personally know that you can either go in front of the batter or behind. I personally like to go behind. I like to clear the batter. So in order for me to do that, I would catch the ball, pivot my back foot, and set up and go. So an example of that would be to catch it and go. So, yeah. Okay, so when I'm catching, I usually try to be lined up with my cup right in the middle of the plate. It just helps me know that my body is center. And when I'm, preparing, giving a sign to the pitcher, I try to keep my legs angled like this so the first base coach can't see. I usually put my glove down and open like this so the third base coach can't see. I usually give the signs, quick enough to where the runner can't pick it up, but my pitcher still can. And after I give the sign, I usually spread out a little bit just because I like to be athletic. I know it's maybe a little bit more tiring on my knees and my legs, but I feel like more mobile if I need to react and get an inside pitch or react to get an outside pitch. And I feel like if there's a ball in the dirt somewhere, I can quickly turn over and block it pretty damn quickly. So I sit yeah, pretty straight. And then when I receive it, I just try to keep my arm as strong as possible. When I catch it, and just kind of turn my glove over like this, and just hold it, and until the umpire makes a call. So then I don't, maybe pull my glove back too quickly, and have the, maybe take a strike away from my pitcher. So I really learned last year a lot about receiving and how you need to get your thumb up and under it, and once you do that, you're able to catch pretty much a lot of the pitches if you're able to get your thumb under it. Obviously, the hardest pitch to catch would be the low pitch down up in here, but yeah, so I was working on that a lot last year, and I think I improved on it heavily. I